And we're live. So I don't think anybody might be here yet, but welcome to the live stream. So this is me, FluffN'Stuff, and we're going to be learning how to make a head base. So let me show you who we're going to be making today. Computer. So this is Calluna. Oh my gosh, so much going on. And then so we're going to be so first we're going to be doing the head base. So I'll be showing you everything that you need. So Cayena, just in case, so you guys know, I'm going to be making like a certain type of fursuit. So first of all, this is going to be a Toonie fursuit from what you can think from Cayena. She's going to be having 2D eyes, which means I won't be doing that 3D look where people like always looking at you and stuff like that. And then that's basically it. Like that's basically the thing. She's also going to be having floppy ears since she's an Australian Shepherd. And then, so yeah, that's all I basically need to know. So what you're going to be needing is lots of hot glue. I'm using Gorilla Glue, but of course this is not a paid promotion because I'm not getting paid for this. Next, we're going to be needing some pins. Pins are going to be your second best friend. You may have a ton of them, even though you probably only need about like 50, but like you might as well just have the whole thing. We're going to be having some craft scissors. I'm going to open these up. Craft scissors. They're good for cutting through foam and cardboard and other stuff, which is exactly what I have over here. Next, we have some markers for marking stuff like the fur patterns and even good for like the eyes. And then next, we have a ruler. It'll be good for face measurements and stuff like that. And then finally, we have our hot glue guns. And so the reason why I have actually two over here, I've used this one even more. I just bought this one. Is that the one that I just bought? The socket where you put the hot glue is a bit much wider than the hot glue sticks that I currently have. So in case this doesn't work, I'm going to be using old fashioned. And so let's get started. So the first thing that you'll need to do, let's put all this other stuff away because we're going to be needing some space for our phone. Tons of space actually. And so first we're going to be needing tons of thin foam. I probably recommend 1/2 inch foam. Anything thinner will probably be too thin to cut, or too thick to like it'll be too thick and too hot in there. And so first we're going to be getting that ruler out, and we're going to be measuring our face. So I recommend when you're measuring your face, like the bottom should be about like 1 inch past where your chin should be, so right over here, and then the top should be like right where your face and your forehead start to curve together. So right over here, I'm gonna put my finger over here, and then we're going to be putting that. Oh my gosh! And then we're going to be putting that like right over here. So you can just make a little like marking. You can just make a nice little marking right here, and get your marker, and probably just say about like right over here. You can even put it a bit longer, and then yeah, there's your marking. We'll be needing this for a while. There we go. Right over here. And then next, we're going to be, to get our wraparound, we're going to be covering our face, so silly. But yeah, we're going to be covering our face in the foam. But before we do that, to make it a bit easier, we're going to be cutting this with our famous crafting scissors. So let's stand up, or I'll just stand up, and we're just going to cut this entire thing. Try and make it as straight as possible. It's going to be a bit quiet for now. Oh my gosh, I'm leaning up a bit, so one thing that'll kind of help me is just to like, and then yeah, just try and go straight the whole entire time. So that it'll be less hard to put this. There we go. Now we have our thin piece of foam that we're going to be using for the fursuit. And yeah, we're just going to put this excess away for now, but we're going to be using it later, don't you know? So let's put this back. We're going to be needing this hot glue soon, so I'm just going to plug it in. There we go. Now I got it for later. So it's going to be heating up right over here. Be careful not to touch yours, just in case you're first making it with me. Next, we're going to be covering our face with this thing. I know it's a bit silly, like I said before, but I think I like to use this method. So, of course, you want to, of course, since I have my hair all big like this, it's actually much better for all styles that I have. So you're going to try and tightly wrap it around your face, but not too tight because it's going to breathe. And then you're going to find the end of one of your things, and then you're going to try and just, there you go. We're going to put our fingers right here, and then we're going to take it off. So this is exactly where we need to cut, right over here, since that's where my ends went. So we're going to put another marking. Ah, my hands are. And then we're just going to put one big one right over here. Let's put it on both sides. And then, yeah. Now we're going to cut that little piece. It's just a tiny bit more than what you think, just in case. Probably an inch or a centimeter, you know. There we go. Now we're going to put that excess away. And then now we're going to wait for our hot glue to melt. And then we're going to be gluing these two together into a nice little cylinder. Kind of like this. So while you're waiting for your thing to heat up, let's just try and do another little thing just to see. Yep, it fits perfectly. So we're going to put some pins just in case, just to keep it in place. We got our pins over here. Be careful. So let's go to the bottom. And we're going to put one pin. And stick that over here. And then go to the top because those are our two little points. And we're going to put our little thing over here. Alrighty. So right in time, our hot glue has just started heating up. Let's take out the part that has already come out because it's already cooled. We do not want that. We want nice and hot glue. That's the whole point. Hot glue. So we're going to take this pin out. And we're going to be making like a nice little line right here. And glue those together. I recommend having like something to entertain you because there will be some parts, unlike this part where it'll cool very easily because it's a very small hot glue spot. There's going to be some times like when you're like gluing the cheeks or something like that together that you're going to need to like stay there for like a really long time and wait for it to cool. Sometimes I like usually like put pins there just in case if the spot that like, doesn't really stay there that easily. Like the nose will just be flowing in midair, it won't really stay there. So I put some pins on the nose while it's cooling. So let's take that pin from the bottom and put it back. You even put like 50 pins there. Just that, you know, the more you put in, the more it stick out. Especially since you're hot gluing stuff, the pins are going to get stuck in the hot glue. And I've lost many pins that way. So we're just going to keep doing that until the whole thing has been glued up. You guys will probably go a bit faster than me if you're personally making it home along with me. But, you know. I don't think you actually know about it. First, third line here. And let that quickly cool. We're going to put this again because this didn't stick long enough. All right then. Eesh. The pins are going to be like more frenemies than friends because you know they prick you even though they help you. Kind of like a love All right. And finally, we're going to be fitting our last few lines. Number 4. So glue, pin, repeats. And then finally, our top. Glue, and then glue, pin, repeats. Put that pin right there. All right. And then, yeah, here we go. Here is our infamous bucket head. You can even wear it in the process. It won't hurt you if your hot glue isn't that hot. There you go. Look at me. I'm in the bucket head. And then we have our faithful little mannequin right here, but she won't really do that much because her head is much smaller than mine. And of course, it's going to be much smaller than the first one. So you might just have her laying on the table. The mannequin was just here, like, just for kicks. So you could just fix any mistakes that you made during the cutting here. Of course, if they're taller than what you made any mistakes of. Okay, so now I got some extra foam for later. There we go. But that would be excess. Yeah, we got a little bit of a short place. And then let's stop that. Ooh. The excess. Try not to make too many foam angels because that's going to be a lot of cleaning up. All right, this should be cool by now, so let's take the pins out. And just in case it isn't cool, you always have your pins right there and your hot glue nice and ready. So we're going to take those out. But don't unplug your hot glue gun just yet. Of course, it's always nice. Always unplug it after you've done with it because there has been sometimes I've accidentally left it on. And yeah, that's made like some really messy mistakes. Some things that might happen with the pins that I'm really scared of is that like the hot glue will kind of like stick the pins into the foam too, so it'll be really hard to take out. And there'll be sometimes that the pin on the top, it'll just come out and it'll be even harder to take out. And so there we go. We have our back nice and glued in there. Doesn't have to look all fancy. And so how we're going to make it an actual bucket now is that we're going to do the top. So we're going to get this thin foam back out again. And then we're going to like cut about like this much right here because we don't want it to be too curvy. So let's get our marker out again. And there. Unfortunately, I was cursed with a marker that smells bad. So we're just going to cut it right here. And then you need about like three thick strips in total. Let's put this glue gun right here. You guys can feel free to ask questions in the chat just in case. All right, so we have our 3 thick strips. So we're going to, as you can see, it's not going to be flat like this, It's not going to be flat like this, So. Hi. Nice to see some new people. Most likely off of Scratch, my most beloved social media. Hey. And so this is what it's kind of going to look like. It's just going to look a bit like this. Maybe even a bit shorter if you want to. I'll do like this. But let's just keep it like this for now. So we're going to be putting one nice little line And we're going to glue that around here. And put some trusty pins. Or untrustworthy. I know where you're going to prick you on the back. And then there you go. I think about 3 would be nice. 1 for the middle, 2 for the sides. And yeah, we're just gonna have that laid over here while we're going to do our other curved side. And probably make it just a bit more flat. So let's cut this part off. Whoop. We have a nice little square for later. Who knows what we're gonna use that for? And then we're going to do our second little line. My wire is not long enough for Mr. Old Fashioned, so. Oh no, and we have run out of hot glue right in the middle of a nice little thing. So we're gonna get another stick out. Put that right in there. That solves the whole problem. There we go. Let's continue. There will be sometimes that your hot glue gun will get a bit loose and it'll be really hard to push. But you're just gonna have to stick to it out. It happens all the time. You just have to like do a bit of this. Make sure that they're aligned. Right? And there you go. Not to have your arms too close to the hot glue because yeah, when you first get in contact with the hot glue gun, it doesn't hurt at first, but after that it'll bring pain. Feel the burn. Sometimes I probably have to do like 1 or more lines just in case they disconnect like this because like it's not really a natural position for something like this, especially if it's like in an animated object. We can't really control where it stands. I'm gonna put 1 right in the middle. And then luckily 1 just fell out of the socket, so we're going to put 1 on the side. Alright then. So now we have our slightly smoother head top. So now we're gonna put the other 2 in there just to cover up because I know there are some bucket head bases that keep the hollows out, but I never figure out how to fill those up, even though of course they give an explanation on how to. It just feels kind of hard. So I'm going to be using this. This is the method I usually like to use. And then, yeah. So this time, since the other side, we're going to be gluing them together. So let's try to at least get the middle first. All right. Oops. I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to have to get some pins to put here because they don't want to seem to stick on the line. I don't blame them. They probably can't even hear me. All right. We've got pin number 1, pin number 2. And not one surprise pin number 3 to put in. So I'm going to put that in there. This one needs to be glued. My fingers have already overcome and I've been overwhelmed with hot glue. Oh my gosh. Woo! Scorching. So next, continue doing this. So, all the fursuit makers at home, you can just follow me. If you're just here to just watch me fursuit make, that's fine. I enjoy people watching my videos. And then I'm just gonna get one on this side too, just in case. Even though I think I already glued this side. It never helps to have reinforcement. It's like how I like to double knot my stitches. I actually can triple knot them. The good thing about hot glue is that in case you want to start over, it's not like too strong that you can't even take it off. All right, and so now we're going to take some excess off that we do not need, and then we're going to glue this up. Ooh. Right in the middle of the finger. I think it cools very quickly. Thank you. You guys seem to be quite quiet on here today. I'll try and see if maybe in my future videos I can try and add some background music. Get that in there. So yeah, there's cuts, glue, repeats. Cut, glue, pin, repeat, I should say. Okay. Tons of pins I gotta take out later. Take some time to get some hydration. Some nice water. Always drink some water every 2 hours or so. But of course, don't wait 2 hours even if you're thirsty. Just drink when you want to. If there's no water available, report immediately. All right, so let's cut some more. It's a good thing that this glue lasts forever. At least not on human skin. There you go, loosen up again. And see, happens all the time. So that was one side. Now we got our little one more pin. right then, look at that. Let's get our other side in here that's been luckily been used as the place to put all the hot glue that I do not need on my table. Awesome. Ooh. Mixing is good. All right, then let's put some pins. Okay. I just saw one part just come out, so I'm gonna reglue that again. I'm better safe than sorry. And probably have to take some time later to look at any questions in the comments. This is the whole plan, actually. The Q&A slash tutorial. Slash relaxing pastime. Awesome. Oh my gosh, stuff all over the place. Okay. Ooh. That's in the chat for my fingers. I gotta put another piece of glue. Alright, this should probably be like 2 more strokes and then we'll be able to do the sides. Careful around the fingers. Don't be like me. It's a good thing the paint only lasts like 2 seconds. Or we put our hand under here. And then our final stroke for the side. Connecting to the main stroke. Alright then. Let's do a cut. It also helps to squish it. It's so much easier to pin sides than flat surfaces, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. keep grabbing a lot. Wrong one thing. Should be the other way around, using the big gray one. But I guess the instinct is told me to pick the black one. Black and orange. One is like total polar opposite. Oh, I took the wrong scissors. Cut. It needs to be a bit more thin. But not too thin because we still need to have that curve up there. Glue, cut, and repeat. Keep listening. Then our final stroke. Just a few more to just reinforce it. This to last one. This one's to last quite a while. Don't you know what I mean? Like all the young fursuit makers out there. And we got this little piece right here. Oop. Let's just put one more pin. And hey presto. Got a nice little bucket head. Looking more like a pail, but who knows. And so before I take some time to carve off the little pieces, let's just look into the comments. Right. There seems to be anything so far. I'm just looking. All right then. Hi Denki. Hi Senko. Nice to see you here. Cool. And so let's start carving this to make it a bit more smoother. So let's start from the places that I first pinned. We're gonna put all these away. One by one. If there is a place that you forgot to glue but you pinned anyway, just re-glue that. And you can just pinch at the place. You don't even have to pin it. Not a pin that's too far deep in there. You have to get it from upside down. I'll have to go back to that one. Just like how I said, it's easier to pin on the curves than on the flat surfaces. Just pinch at them and just get it out. Oh, and this is what we're talking about. We just lost the pin. And I got a little spiky place in there to get out. Ooh, found it. And just has to be my worst nightmare when it comes to cursive making. These pins get stuck in hot glue. Got that one out. I'm going to put it in the trash later. And trust me, I try to put it back together. Doesn't really work. I usually lose about 5 pins. I lost about 5 pins in the last one. Last one up there. Got it all happy. I don't know how much work I have to use. So usually when you think that one of them is going to be lost, I usually just grab it by the metal and not by the top, the head. Like I was talking about right here, the part that you forgot to glue. This glue that and just pinch down on it. You can get a pin if you want to, and you can work on something else. But I recommend just pinching on it. Metal and out. Got a nice assortment of pins colors in here. Oh my, a bit of a vibration. Almost done. You see? That part that I was just pinched on the whole time, it's all done. I'll cool down. And let's get this last 5 retro pins out. You know, to this day, when I was trying on Citrine, I actually found the pin in his head I have to take out. So just look around in case you have any lost pins in your head, please. That goes for all of you, whether you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay. So this is the time where you unplug your hot glue gun. You don't want it to overheat your house, turn into a lava. Just in case you need hot glue. All right, now you can carve the place where it's not so smooth. Okay. Foam angels are starting. And here we go. Just smooth enough for now. You don't want to accidentally cut out a hole in there. And then just do it, not all over again, but just like put like a little reinforcement. Okay. There we go. Here is our bucket head base. It's looking a bit flat, but you don't need it to be like that much. There we go. So we're going to get some stuff out the way. This excess foam we will not need for a long while. In case you want to use it for something else, you don't have to. And just try to get those big pieces out of the way that you could still use for later. So stuff that's like this size, you won't need them. Just throw them out. But stuff that's like this size, you can use it for something else, like maybe another craft. You don't have to use it for cursive making. Upholstery foam is used for a lot of things. It's actually even in your couch. In your couch, in your ottomans. Stuff like that. All right then. And so we have an unplugged hot glue. And let's put everything back to its side. So now we got this little thing right here. Looking like a mohawk. leaning upwards. And so now we're just gonna have to find wherever you want to put your front. So usually it'll be like on the opposite side of where your back is, of course. So it's gonna be right here. So we're gonna be making some face measurements. So first, how I say that how you can find your face is to first of all plan your eyes. So since mine is gonna be toony, it's gonna be kind of like this. Not too excited, just a bit relaxed. And so I already cut out the inside of where the eye mesh is going to be. And now I just have to cut out the outside. I recommend using just doing a pencil thing first. You probably can't see because it's like really light pencil. After that, you can use marker to cut out where your final product will be. Even if you have to use more than one color, just in case you change your mind. Okay. This is not going to be your final eyepiece, as I said earlier in the video, but this is going to be used to trace. What I'd say as you could use as your actual eye blanks would be, of course, if you don't have a 3D printer at home, you could use either like those thin craft foams that I used to find at like your daycares or summer camps, like those thin white ones, or you could use like any plastic in your house. Like it could be from a bowl, it could be from any plastic object that you're not using anymore. It could even be from like cans. Well, not cans because they're made of aluminum, but like you know what I mean, like the cleaning bottles. You can learn more about that on matrices.net. That's where I got most of my eye information. And here we go. We got a little eye blank right here. So we got our fronts. And then we're going to find where we're going to put our eyes. So how I usually find where to put stuff is that I'm going to wear this bucket headpiece again. Awesome. And then I'm just going to poke at one of my eyes. Let's get one of my markers. It's a bit of a messy technique, but it works. So I'm going to find where I'm going to wear it, like this. And then I'm going to poke one of my eyes. And then try and get a marker. So that right here, my other eye. Look at my nose for when the first time the breathing point will be. And in my mouth. And then the corners of my mouth too. So I know where to make that circle. All right, take this off. And there we go. These are my eyes and mouth. Look like a nice little snowman. Like a smiley face. Since these are the middle of my eyes, the eye blanks are going to be around here. Like this. Oh. So let's trace those out. So it's not going to be completely flat like this. It's going to be a bit of a slant. So it's going to be kind of like this. Kind of slanted up, but not really. And then, I don't know if this might work because it's cardboard, but let's just pin it. Keep in mind that I recommend that your eye blanks, like your actual eye blanks, should be a tiny tad bit bigger than the ones that you've traced out on your designated eye blank putter or like paper, cardboard, however. All right, and then we could just go the rest from there. Okay then. So those are our eyes, and then trace the insides. be a small tiny little. It's not going to be exact. There you go. So there's our first eye, nice and pretty. And then our second eye, try and make it symmetrical. It's okay if it's not. Once you put all your facial features and you fur the head, since these are going to be flat eyes, it's going to be placed after you fur the head. And so yeah, it's gonna kind of like how you put seam allowance on like paws and other fur features before you sew it. This is exactly what you're gonna do. Not exactly an inch, probably like 3/4 of an inch. And then let's put our infamous little eye. All right then. So there we go. We got our two little eyes right here. And let's put different color for the nose for our breathing spot. Let's get black. If I can even find black somewhere, I think even fell. I'll just use a nice little, oh, here it is. No, I even put it back. So it's gonna be like a nice curvy triangle. So just put it a bit past your nose, and then just make it like probably just a tad bit before you reach the bottom of where your chin compartment will be, because that's where the bottom of your mouth is gonna go. And so it is gonna make that symmetrical. And there you go. Whew. Now I got a screaming head base. Oh my gosh. So unlike the eyes, you're gonna cut out the mouth. Oh, where's the stuff? And just make a tiny little star in the middle, like try and bend your foam and just put a little cut. And that'll be a little hole where you could just cut inside. Since it's much skinny foam, it'll be much easier to cut out stuff. Almost done. Let's trace around your part. You're trying not to have this seam, so you don't have to make it all like fancy or perfectly aligned. There we go. Let's wear this and test it out. Of course, I won't be able to see out of it, but I'll be able to breathe out of it. Hello. Got our bucket head base now. Woohoo! Box head. And there we go. That is our bucket head base. Woohoo! And so then from there, we'll be able to trace where we want to put our nose. And then, yeah. So, and so there, you could just like, let's get that marker back, let's get that purple marker. And then you could just trace out where you want to put your stuff. And so what I usually like to use is kind of like a little drawing to try and see where all your stuff will be. And so I'll be right back with a different computer. Let's just take a little. And so I usually save. Like a little drawing of what the foam base would look like on another computer, or I draw it somewhere so that I can kind of see where I'll put my stuff. And so this would usually like it'll be like a drawing of where the mouth would be and stuff like that. So let's put some stuff away like this. Try and keep your place as clean as possible because, like, you know, cleaning kind of makes your place a bit more homey. So this is what I have thought of as Cayuna's head. So, and I put all the appendages, all the parts of the head, on different layers so that I could make stuff invisible, just in case I wanted to see what was under it. So there you go. Gone. Now it's gone. Now it's back. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, that's basically it. So this is how you make a head base. This is going to be part 1 of our head base as the bucket head. So next week, on next Saturday, at the exact same time, we're going to be learning about how to put all the parts, like the cheeks, the nose, the ears, and everything. And then after that, there'll be 4 videos. The next 2, after the next video, would be part 1 and part 2 of furring our head. And then that'll be it. That'll be your own fursuit head, my own fursuit head. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. And so, anybody have any questions that I could ask? That I could answer? Yeah. So, feel free to like this video. Next week, we'll be back for part 2 of the fursuit head creation. Oh my gosh, we got tons of stuff moving around here. And so, a question, I see that somebody's asked a question. So, what's the budget for the fursuit head? It would be about like, so the fursuit head itself would be about like $200 because like I usually buy all my stuff at Joann's. So the foam and all this foam down here, like the tiny foam and the big boy foam, it usually costs at Joann's. It usually costs about like $50 a yard, or $50 in total. And so for a head, I recommend 2 yards of big boy foam and 1 yard of tiny foam. It's not actually called big boy foam though. And then so yeah, that'd be about $50 in total. And then for other stuff like duct tape, you probably might have enough duct tape at home, but just in case, duct tape probably costs about like $5 to $10. And then the fur, that depends on how much fur that you need. Like that depends on how your persona looks like. Your persona could just be like one color, like a green little fox, or it could be like Calluna, has 4 colors in total. And so that'll kind of vary your price. It'll be about 200, 250, probably even 300, depending on what you're making. Like it could be like a giant eared animal like Citrine in the background, whose like ears are like twice the size of his head. And so that'll double your cost of foam. And of course double your cost of fur. And so that would basically be it. And yeah. The budget would be about 200 to 300 from my experience. And so another question I've already thought of is how to get started, and for how I get started is and so and so how I got started into fursuit making was like a long time ago when I first came back into the fandom after a few years of being out of it. I got back into the fandom because of surprise, the fursuits. And so I've always wanted my own fursuits, but of course, minors cannot buy fursuits from other people, especially from big brand companies like More for Less or like Autumn Fallings. But you could always make your own. So I've been trying to see when I could find a way to make my own fursuits. And the quarantine has kind of gotten me to be able to do so. So here I am today teaching you all how to make fursuits. Yeah. My glue gun has been cooled. It's nice to know. And that's basically it. And so, any other questions that anybody has? I'll just wait in the comments. I know it probably takes about like a little while to type it. Okay, kind of because I don't want to like get started on like putting the parts onto the head and have to like stop midway. But like, you know. So what I usually like about fursuit making is just the making in general because there'll be some days that I'll be like, oh my gosh, I have to like finish these pods by like the end of March, or like, oh, I have to go add this part to the fursuit head today, stuff like that. But when I really think about it, I've actually enjoyed all the time that I've used since the first making. It's really a hobby of mine. It's really a passion that I have. I love doing it. I kind of, you know. And then the most difficult part about it would probably be like, just hot glue and pins and stuff like that. And there has been one time while I was making Citrine's head that I've had to redo his bucket base 3 times over. Where the first time I tried to use Sky High Studios method of wait no, I didn't use Sky High Studios method. I used Black Cheetah Studios from you probably know him by Phelan. That's her name. So Black Cheetah Studios method of just doing one line here and then 2 lines over here, and there'll be like 4 gaps in the middle that you fill with triangles of foam. And so I tried to do that, but it kind of made my head look a bit too tall. And so I redid the bucket head base to do Sky High Studios method by just like clumping, like just making like the face really tall and then clumping it all together and snipping the ends. I didn't really like that method either, so I just cut down to the face and did this method here. And I kind of like that. It kind of felt a bit more spacey, and yeah, this has to be my biggest bucket head base I've made so far, but people grow. I'm only 12. So yeah, this is the end of how to make a bucket head base. So you don't really have to, but it'd be cool if you could like. You don't have to subscribe, but just like if you like the video, that's cool. If you didn't, it's okay. But but you could find me on like places since I'm still like a minor, I don't really like use that many like the big social medias. But I do have a Twitter, which the tag is at Doggo Grape, and I have a Scratch, which is the Artful Dog. And then I'm building a website to start opening for commissions. But of course, I think you guys will want to see how the end product looks like before you think about commissioning me. But it's going to be called Fluff and Stuff Studios. This is one example. And yeah, so let's bring it here. Let's showcase the train's head. 3 times mine. Look how big he is from far away. So he is a gemlin, which I said yes, I said a gemlin, which is not my species. It's a species by Icefire on Fur Affinity. So in case if you want to make one, I would recommend that you credit her. Well, every time that I make a project on Citrine, it'll probably show. It'll probably say like this is a species by Icefire. Even this badge up there, it even credited her too there too. This is what it looks like. And yeah, I made the neck fluff. I have a little white face. So these are all like standard pieces. These are all standard pieces of gemlins. And yeah, it's a big old example of my work. And so yeah, so I'll be making another video on Saturday on how to make the facial features at 1 o'clock, same time as I just did today. And I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.